The return of Port Charles' most notorious villain, Nell Benson, set to shake up General Hospital. Nell Benson is coming back to Port Charles, and the entire town should be bracing for impact, after actress Chloe Lanier recently shared a photo of herself on the General Hospital set. Fans have been buzzing with excitement and anticipation. The last time viewers saw Nell was in 2020 when she plummeted off a cliff following a dramatic confrontation with Carly Spencer. Her body was reportedly found, and Port Charles collectively breathed a sigh of relief. But in the world of soap operas, death is rarely permanent, and Nell's return promises to deliver the kind of explosive drama that only she can bring. What makes this comeback even more intriguing is the timing. Willow Tate, Nell's fraternal twin sister, is currently sitting in a cell at Pentonville Prison, awaiting trial for the attempted murder of Drew Cain. The two sisters have never had a proper relationship. Willow didn't even know Nell existed until after her supposed death, when the shocking revelation came that they were twins and that Nina Reeves was their biological mother. Now, rumors are swirling that these two sisters will finally come face to face in the most unlikely of places, behind prison bars. The question on everyone's mind is simple, yet loaded with possibility. What will happen when these two women meet? A villain's resurrection. Nell Benson has always been a character who defies expectations. When she first arrived in Port Charles, she presented herself as a sweet, vulnerable young woman who had saved Jocelyn Jack's life by donating her kidney. But beneath that innocent facade lurked a manipulative, vengeful soul who would stop at nothing to destroy anyone who stood in her way. She targeted the Corinthos family with precision and malice, sleeping with Sonny while he was drunk, staging incidents to make Carly look unstable, and ultimately kidnapping her own son, Wiley, in a desperate bid to keep him away from Michael. Her final act of villainy ended with her clinging to a cliff edge, Carly desperately trying to save her despite everything she had done. Nell fell, and the presumption was that she died. But soap opera fans know better than to trust a body that's never shown on screen. The possibility that Nell survived, perhaps rescued by unknown allies, recovering in secret, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike, has always lingered in the background. Now, with Chloe Lanier back on set, that possibility has become reality. Nell is alive, and she's about to make her presence known in a way that will send shockwaves through the lives of everyone who thought they were finally free of her. Willow's fall from grace. While Nell has been presumably dead, Willow has undergone her own dramatic transformation. Once the picture of maternal sweetness and moral righteousness, Willow's life has spiraled into chaos over the past year. Her affair with Drew Cain destroyed her marriage to Michael Corinthos and cost her custody of her two children, Wiley and Amelia. The humiliation of having her private moments exposed, combined with the devastating loss of her children, pushed Willow to the edge. But the downward spiral didn't stop there. After Drew was shot, Willow found herself arrested and charged with attempted murder. Despite her protests of innocence, the evidence seemed to point directly at her. When her mother Nina tried to provide her with an alibi, it backfired spectacularly in court, making Willow look even more guilty. The judge denied bail, declaring her a flight risk, and she was sent to Pentonville to await trial. Now Willow sits in a cell, surrounded by hardened criminals, stripped of her freedom and her dignity. Her attorney, Alexis Davis, is working tirelessly to find alternative suspects and build a defense, but the odds are stacked against her. Willow's emotional state is fragile. At best, she's lost everything that mattered to her, and the walls are literally closing in. It's in this vulnerable, desperate state that Willow will encounter the one person she never expected to see, her twin sister, Nell. The prison encounter. The scene is set in the cold, sterile halls of Pentonville. Willow has been escorted by a guard for her daily routine, her eyes hollow, her movements mechanical. She's learned to keep her head down, to avoid confrontation, to survive each day as it comes. Prison life has been brutal for someone who's spent years working as a caring teacher and nurse. Every moment is a reminder of how far she's fallen. As she walks down the corridor, another inmate is being brought in from the opposite direction. Willow barely glances up at first. She's learned not to make eye contact, not to invite trouble. But something makes her look, and when she does, she stops dead in her tracks. The woman walking toward her has her face. Same eyes, same bone structure, same height. For a moment, Willow wonders if she's hallucinating, if the stress and isolation have finally broken her mind. But the other woman has stopped too, staring at Willow with an expression of shock that quickly transforms into something else, a slow, calculating smile. Well, Nell says, her voice dripping with amusement. If it isn't my dear, sweet sister, what are the odds? Willow's mouth opens, but no words come out. She's seen photos of Nell, heard stories about her from Michael and Nina, but seeing her in person alive, breathing, standing right in front of her is overwhelming. You're dead, Willow finally manages to whisper. You died. You fell off a cliff. Nell laughs, a sound that sends chills down Willow's spine. Oh, sweetie, you should know by now that it takes more than a fall to kill a Benson. Or should I say, a Reeves. She takes a step closer, her eyes gleaming with malicious delight. Surprise! Your evil twin is back from the dead. How does that feel? The guard between them barks in order to keep moving, but both women ignore him, locked in this moment of recognition and revelation. How long have you been here? Willow asks, her voice trembling. Long enough, Nell replies cryptically. Long enough to hear all about you. Willow, the perfect daughter, the perfect mother, the perfect wife. Oh wait, not so perfect anymore, are you? Looks like we have more in common than just DNA. Two sides of the same coin. Over the following days, Willow finds it impossible to avoid Nell. Pentonville isn't a large facility, and somehow, Nell always seems to be wherever Willow is, in the cafeteria, in the yard, in the common area. It's clear that Nell has been establishing herself here, building connections, finding ways to manipulate the system just as she did on the outside. Their second conversation happens in the prison yard. Willow is sitting alone on a bench when Nell approaches and sits down beside her, uninvited. You know, I've been thinking, Nell begins, ignoring Willow's obvious discomfort. It's funny how life works out. I spent years trying to be part of a family, trying to claim what was mine, and everyone treated me like I was poison. But you walked in and got everything handed to you. Michael's love, our mother's affection, my son. Wiley is my son, Willow interrupts sharply. I raised him. I'm the only mother he's ever known. Nell's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Legally, maybe, but biologically, he's mine, Willow. And no adoption papers can change that. She leans back, studying her sister with interest. But I'm curious, what happened to you? Last I heard, before I supposedly died, you were this righteous, moral compass for everyone around you. Now you're in here for trying to kill someone. That's very Nell of you. I didn't do it, Willow says firmly. I'm innocent. Sure you are, Nell says mockingly. That's what everyone says in here. But I've heard the gossip. I've heard about your affair with Drew, about how you lost your kids, about how you've been spiraling. Face it, sis, you're becoming me. Maybe we're more alike than anyone wants to admit. The words hit Willow like a physical blow because there's a kernel of truth in them. People have been comparing her to Nell for months now. Lucas accused her of channeling her evil twin. Even Willow herself has wondered if there's something dark inside her, some genetic predisposition towards selfishness and destruction that she inherited from their shared DNA. I'm nothing like you, Willow says, but her voice lacks conviction. Nell laughs again. Keep telling yourself that. But we both know the truth. You're just figuring it out a little later than I did. Nina's impossible choice. Word of Nell's survival reaches the outside world quickly. Nina Reeves, already torn apart by worry for Willow, now faces an impossible situation. Both of her daughters are in prison. One she's just begun to build a relationship with. The other she never got to know, whose death has haunted her with guilt and regret. When Nina arrives at Pentonville for a visit, she requests to see both of them. The guard informs her she can only visit one at a time, and Nina makes the agonizing decision to see Nell first. Nell is brought to the visiting room, And when she sees Nina through the glass, her expression is unreadable. Nina picks up the phone with trembling hands. Nell, she breathes. You're alive. You're really alive. Hello? Mom, Nell says, her tone neutral. Did you miss me? Tears stream down Nina's face. I'm so sorry. For everything. For not being there for you. For not believing you. For. Save it. Nell interrupts coldly. I don't need your apologies now. Where were they when I was actually asking for your help? Where were they when I was begging you to believe me about that kidney? I know I failed you, Nina says desperately, but I want to make it right. I want to be there for you now. Both of you and Willow. At the mention of Willow's name, something flickers in Nell's eyes. Ah yes, the golden child. Tell me, Nina, if you had to choose between us, who would it be? Your perfect daughter who's fallen from grace, or your damaged daughter who was never good enough to begin with? I don't want to choose, Nina insists. You're both my daughters. I love you both. You don't even know me, Nell says bitterly. But you're about to, because Willow and I have been having some very interesting conversations. And I think it's time Port Charles learned that sometimes the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Or in this case, both apples. An unholy alliance? The most terrifying possibility begins to take shape as Nell and Willow continue their forced proximity. Despite Willow's initial resistance, she finds herself drawn into conversations with her sister. Nell has a way of getting under people's skin, of finding their vulnerabilities and exploiting them. And Willow, in her current state, is more vulnerable than she's ever been. You know what your problem is, Nell says during one of their yard conversations. You've spent your whole life trying to be good, trying to do the right thing, and where has it gotten you? You're in here, just like me. The difference is, I never pretended to be something I wasn't. So what are you suggesting? Willow asks, exhaustion evident in her voice. That I should just embrace being a villain? I'm suggesting that you stop letting other people define who you are. Nell replies, Michael took your kids. Drew betrayed you. Nina's alibi made you look guilty. Everyone on the outside is living their lives while you rot in here. Don't you think it's time you started fighting for yourself instead of playing by their rules? There's a dangerous appeal to Nell's words. Willow has followed the rules her entire life, and it's brought her nothing but pain. Michael has Wiley and Amelia. Drew is free to move on with his political career. Even Nina, despite her good intentions, has made things worse. Meanwhile, Willow sits in a cell, facing decades in prison for a crime she didn't commit. What do you want from me? Willow finally asks. Nell's smile is enigmatic. Maybe I just want to get to know my sister. Or maybe I want something more. We'll see. But I'll tell you this, Willow, when you're ready to stop being a victim and start taking control of your life, I'll be here. Because unlike everyone else who's abandoned you, I actually understand what it's like to be you right now. And that's something worth thinking about. The town reacts. Back in Port Charles, news of Nell's survival spreads like wildfire. Michael is horrified at the possibility that Nell might try to claim custody of Wiley if she's ever released. Carly is furious, convinced that Nell faked her death as part of some elaborate scheme. Sonny immediately starts making calls to ensure that Nell remains behind bars for as long as possible. But it's the potential alliance between Nell and Willow that has everyone truly worried. Sasha Gilmore, who's been terrified of Willow's erratic behavior around her daughter Daisy, becomes convinced that Nell is manipulating Willow into something even more dangerous. Chase argues that Willow would never align herself with someone like Nell, but others aren't so sure. Willow's not herself right now, Chase says to Michael during a tense confrontation. But she's not Nell. She'll never be Nell. I hope you're right, Michael replies grimly. Because if those two team up, if Nell convinces Willow to help her with whatever plan she's cooking up, we're all in serious trouble. And Wiley is the one who'll pay the price. Drew, meanwhile, feels enormous guilt over Willow's situation. Despite their complicated relationship, he never wanted to see her imprisoned. The knowledge that Nell is now in the picture, potentially influencing Willow during her most vulnerable moment, terrifies him. He begins working behind the scenes, using his political connections to try to expedite Willow's trial or arrange for her release on bail. The cliffhanger, the real question that hangs over Port Charles, is whether Willow will resist Nell's influence or succumb to it. She's always been defined by her goodness, her desire to help others, her maternal instincts. But prison has a way of changing people, and Nell has a way of finding the darkness that exists in everyone. As Alexis works on Willow's defense, discovering potential evidence that could point to another suspect in Drew's shooting, Nell plants seeds of doubt in Willow's mind. Even if you get out of here, Nell says during their latest conversation, "What are you going back to? Michael will never let you near the kids. The whole town thinks you're guilty. Your reputation is destroyed. Maybe staying in here, where you don't have to face any of that, isn't the worst thing. I need to fight," Willow says, but her voice is weak. "Then fight," Nell encourages. "But fight smart. Fight like me. Because the old Willow? She's dead. Just like everyone thought I was dead. Maybe it's time for both of us to stop being who they expect us to be and start being who we need to be to survive." The camera pulls back on the two sisters, sitting side by side in the prison yard, their faces eerily similar, yet bearing such different expressions. Nell's is calculating and cold. Willow's is conflicted and tormented. But there's a shift happening, visible in Willow's eyes, a hardening, a determination, an acceptance of something dark. When Willow and Nell finally meet in Pentonville, it won't just be a reunion of long-lost sisters. It will be a collision of two worlds, to personalities, to destinies that were always meant to intersect. One sister came back from the dead. The other is experiencing a death of sorts, the death of everything she once believed herself to be. Port Charles may have thought the worst was over when Nell died, but with both Benson twins now behind bars, facing uncertain futures, and carrying matching grudges against those who put them there, the worst may actually be just beginning. Whether they become allies or enemies, whether Willow embraces her inner Nell or fights to remain true to herself, one thing is certain. When these two women finally walk out of Pentonville, nothing in Port Charles will ever be the same again. Next, we will learn about the devastating rumors swirling around Port Charles that could shatter the Ashford legacy forever. Marshall Ashford's shocking potential departure from the canvas next week. In the tight-knit world of General Hospital, where family bonds are as fragile as they are fierce, whispers of Marshall Ashford's impending exit have sent shockwaves through the fanbase and the storyline alike. This isn't just any character fade out. It's a seismic event for a family that's already navigating turbulent waters with limited branches on its tree. Imagine the Ashfords, a lineage marked by resilience and hidden secrets, suddenly losing its patriarch at a time when unity is more crucial than ever. Marshall, portrayed with such gravitas by Robert Gossett, has been a stabilizing force, his presence a quiet anchor amid the chaos of Port Charles' endless dramas. But if this rumor holds water, his absence could ripple outward, forcing everyone connected to him to confront vulnerabilities they never anticipated. Fans are reeling, posting frantic theories online about how this could redefine the show's dynamics, especially as the holiday season approaches with its usual parade of revelations and reconciliations. Curtis Ashford, the smooth-talking investigator whose weathered betrayals and triumphs would be utterly devastated by this loss, coming right on the heels of life-altering family news. Just recently, Curtis learned that Portia Robinson, his soon-to-be ex-wife, is pregnant again, positioning him as a grandfather once more in a twist that blends joy with the bitterness of their dissolving marriage. Picture Curtis beaming with pride, envisioning family gatherings where little ones toddle around, only for this dark cloud to descend. The baby in Portia's womb adds layers of complication. Rumors persist that it might not carry Ashford blood, a secret Portia guards closely amid her own guilt over past deceptions like the one surrounding Trina's paternity. If Marshall's death strikes now, it could paralyze Curtis emotionally, making him retreat into grief and delay any confrontation with Portia about the child's true origins. This scenario might even spark a deeper exploration of Curtis's vulnerabilities, showing him grappling with legacy and loss in therapy sessions with Kevin Collins or confiding in old allies like TJ, his nephew, who could step up in unexpected ways to support the family. The timing feels cruelly poetic, amplifying the tension in their divorce proceedings and potentially leading to a custody battle laced with unspoken doubts. Stella Henry, the no-nonsense matriarch with a heart of gold beneath her sharp tongue, would absorb this blow like a storm hitting a sturdy oak. Her reactions a mix of profound sorrow and bittersweet closure. As Marshall's sister-in-law through his long-ago marriage to her sister, Stella has carried the weight of that fractured history, often clashing with Marshall over family decisions while harboring a reluctant respect. Her grief might manifest in quiet moments at the hospital, where she works as a nurse, confiding in Epiphany's memory or seeking solace in church, all while masking her pain with feisty determination. Yet, there's a silver lining she might cling to, the possibility that Marshall's passing reunites him spiritually with her sister in the afterlife, offering Stella a sense of peace amid the heartache. This could prompt heartfelt scenes where Stella rallies the family, organizing a memorial that uncovers old letters or photos from Marshall's past, revealing untold stories of love and regret that humanize him further. For viewers, it would be a poignant arc, highlighting Stella's evolution from critic to compassionate guardian, perhaps even softening her stance toward Portia's secrets as she prioritizes healing. Then there's Trina Robinson, the vibrant young artist whose journey on GH has been a beacon of growth and resilience. Who would feel this loss acutely after only recently forging a bond with her grandfather? Over the past 2 years, Trina has navigated art school dreams, romantic entanglements with Spencer Casadini, and the shadow of her mother's lies, finally embracing Marshall as a guiding figure in her life. Their interactions, simple yet profound, like shared laughs over coffee or advice on standing strong, have given Trina a sense of rootedness she craved. Losing him now, just as she's rebuilding after the Prince ordeal, could plunge her into a spiral of what-ifs, questioning the stability of her family ties and fueling her creative output with raw emotion. Envision Trina channeling her sorrow into a mural at the gallery, depicting Port Charles' interconnected souls, or leaning on Jocelyn Jacks for support during late-night talks that delve into themes of legacy and impermanence. This development might also tie into Trina's budding romance, with Spencer offering clumsy comfort that tests their chemistry, ultimately strengthening her resolve to honor Marshall's memory by pursuing truth and justice in her own storylines. Speculating on the cause of Marshall's demise adds a thrilling layer of intrigue, as General Hospital thrives on unexpected twists that keep audiences guessing. If it's not mere rumor, but a scripted farewell, natural causes seem improbably premature for a man as vital and enigmatic as Marshall, whose backstory hints at untapped adventures from his music promoter days to shadowy connections in the criminal underworld. Perhaps it's a sudden health crisis, like a hidden ailment exacerbated by stress from Curtis's pie work, leading to dramatic hospital scenes where Marshall shares final wisdom with his son about forgiveness and family. But the show's penchant for suspense suggests fouler play, an accident, maybe a slip during a late-night walk in the rainy Port Charles streets, or a hit-and-run that awakens Curtis's detective instincts, turning him into a relentless sleuth. Imagine Curtis poring over security footage at the PCPD, partnering with Dante Falconeri to uncover clues pointing to vengeful foes. Could it link back to the Jerome crime family remnants or even a political vendetta? And what if Congressman Drew Kane, with his own axes to grind from election scandals and Quartermain rivalries, emerges as a suspect in a convoluted plot? Drew's recent power plays might intersect with Marshall's quiet influence, painting a web of conspiracy that involves forged documents or blackmail from the past. These endless possibilities could extend into multi-episode arcs, blending grief with mystery and drawing in characters like Laura Spencer for councilwoman insights or Ava Jerome for underworld whispers. This heartbreaking rumor lands like a gut punch, especially because fans have been eagerly awaiting Marshall and Stella Henry's on-screen reunion. a spark that promised so much untapped potential. Both have been sparingly featured lately, their absence is felt during key events like the latest Metro Court Gala. But each appearance crackled with unspoken chemistry, subtle glances across family dinners, or teasing banter that hinted at deeper feelings. As Stella's brother-in-law by marriage, Marshall's history of leaving her sister created a taboo edge, yet viewers saw the flirtation building, shared values in protecting the Ashfords, mutual respect for their resilience, and those lingering what-if conversations about second chances. Many tuned in hoping for a nurse's ball waltz or a quiet confession that defied conventions, evolving into a mature romance that showcased later life passion amid Port Charles' youth-focused tales. Introducing elements like a joint volunteer project at the community center could have fleshed this out, with Marshall's charm melting Stella's defenses and leading to stolen kisses under the stars. Alas, if his exit is imminent, this budding storyline evaporates, leaving fans mourning not just a character, but a missed opportunity for heartfelt drama that could have rivaled classic GH couples like Luke and Laura in emotional depth. The outcry from the fandom is deafening, with social media ablaze in pleas of "Say It Ain't So," as petitions circulate and hashtags trend under Sava Marshallished. Yet, the harsh reality of soap production means if these scenes are locked in, they were filmed months ago in the bustling studios, with no room for last-minute interventions despite the uproar. It's a familiar sting, reminiscent of Kelly Monaco's abrupt Sam McCall exit earlier this year, where fan protests flooded ABC's inboxes and threatened boycotts after her decades-long run. Despite the backlash, the show's ratings have surged in recent months, buoyed by fresh blood like Rebecca Herbst's return teases and explosive Quartermain plots, proving GH's enduring pull transcends any single departure. This resilience speaks to the Sutzer's magic, a devoted audience that weeps, rages, and returns episode after episode, drawn by the raw humanity and cliffhangers. Marshall's potential farewell might even boost viewership, sparking water cooler debates and fan theories that propel the narrative forward. Much like Sam's death opened doors for new alliances and secrets. As the week unfolds, Port Charles holds its breath. Will Marshall Ashford bid adieu in a blaze of glory? Or is this rumor just another red herring in GH's masterful game of deception? Stay tuned to our channel for updates as we decode every whisper and twist in this unfolding saga.